One day you're walking down the road and you hear of the Matrix. Suddenly you think to yourself, am I part of the Matrix? Are there actually people who control what I can and cannot do? While your actual actions cannot be controlled by anyone but you, there are families and dynasties who control policies, who get elected, who get campaign funding, and other global issues. Now, this list is not based on conspiracy theories or claims, but I will shed some light on who these families are and how they secretly control the world from politics to economic policies. The Mars family. When last did you eat a Snickers bar or an M&M? Well, you have given away some of your money to the Mars family, a candy empire that has been running for 106 years. The Mars family sits on top of a delicious fortune worth $89.7 billion. Their businesses span from brands such as M&Ms, Snickers, and Milky Way bars to pet food such as Whiskas and Pedigree. They have been known to keep the company notoriously private, which is not suspicious at all considering they once were accused of slave labor on cocoa plantations in the Ivory Coast. The Mars family was among 18 billionaire families who lobbied Congress to eliminate the estate tax, which Congress did. See the power I'm talking about? They have been known to be both private and frugal. They never trust anyone, especially outsiders of the company or even the press. The Rockefellers. Chances are you've most likely heard the name Rockefeller. The Rockefeller name is mainly linked to the oil industry and real estate business, through which John Rockefeller, the first in the family, gained his first billions in the 19th century. He opened the Standard Oil Company, which became the biggest oil company at the time, raising its net worth to more than $400 billion. By the 1890s, Standard Oil owned 3/4 of the oil industry in the United States. The family originated in Rhineland in Germany, and family members moved to America in the early 18th century. The Rockefellers helped the construction of the United Nations, and they founded Bilderberg. Bilderberg is an annual off-the-record meeting where all the most powerful people in the world come together to discuss how popcorn is made. Yeah, I think you know what I mean by that. Former Cuban President Fidel Castro said the intentions of the Bilderberg was manipulating the public to install a world government that knows no borders and is not accountable to anyone but its own self. No one actually knows how rich the Rockefellers really are, but they are considered one of the most powerful families in American history. The DuPont family. Irene DuPont, the son of a French immigrant who gained his wealth after founding a gunpowder factory in Delaware. His family grew roots in the U.S. in politics after they allegedly ensured the U.S. purchase of the territory of Louisiana from Napoleon in 1803. By the beginning of the First World War, the company, DuPont, produced 40% of the world's explosives, and during the Second World War, they participated in the project construction of the American nuclear bomb. Some believe that the DuPont family influenced the U.S. authorities to such an extent that they were the only reason why the use of marijuana and production of industrial hemp were banned, all to protect the production of nylon, one of the most important products of the DuPont company. Today, this company is one of the biggest world producers of GMO seeds, and they are the founders of the Doomsday Treasury, where samples of all plants are preserved so that mankind could plant them again after the apocalypse. The Koch family. Charles and David Koch have found far greater power and influence outside of elected office as they became two of the most prominent faces in a new era of mega-donors in American politics. They have been active in American politics since at least 1980, when David Koch was the Libertarian Party's vice presidential nominee. Since then, they've gone on to contribute millions of dollars to donations to various political and policy organizations, all while running Koch Industries, a conglomerate with annual revenues of $100 billion. The majority of the donations have come through nonprofits, which do not require full disclosure of finances. These nonprofits have been so careful about the secrecy at their meetings, which take place twice a year in resorts, that at one point, they even went to the trouble to erect white noise machines that would create static facing the outside so that no one could eavesdrop on them. According to Forbes, Koch Industries is America's second largest private company, with over $1 trillion in sales. They can buy political influence by leveraging their massive wealth. Manufacturing, pulp and paper production, chemical equipment, finance, commodities trading, investment, energy, and polymers are the main industries Koch Industries serves. Fred C. Koch started Koch Industries from scratch when he developed a new cracking method for the refinement of heavy crude oil into gasoline. With their political influence and vast business empire, we can conclude that Coke is one of the families that run the world. The Bush family. The Bush family is a political dynasty that produced two presidents of the United States. It all started with Prescott Sheldon Bush in 1895. He became a member of Yale group Skull and Bones, and allegedly, this Bush was behind the failed military coup in 1933, which was aimed at taking power away from Franklin Roosevelt. During the Second World War, Bush was the head of the Union Banking Corporation, the bank which was eventually impounded due to proven business connections with the Nazis. Prescott's son, George H.W. Bush, became the president of the USA during the 80s of the last century, and his grandson, George W. Bush, was a two-term U.S. president. They both launched conflicts with Iraq, in which companies such as Halliburton, or KBR, which are linked to the Bush family, generate enormous profits. The Bush family is considered the most powerful family in U.S. politics, and they also have exorbitant amounts of money in the banking and oil sectors. The Morgans. The Morgans were very good friends of the Rockefellers. In 1893, during the banking crisis, U.S. authorities needed gold, and who else to lend them tons of gold than John Pierpont Morgan? Or shall I call him J.P. Morgan? This is how the Morgan family came to control the gold in the USA, and then they started financing companies such as AT&T, General Electric, and others. For a while, the Morgans also financed Nikola Tesla's research. The Morgans were always friends with the U.S. Ministry of Finance, and many people claim that the Morgans forced the U.S. to participate in the First World War to protect the loans they gave to Russia and France earlier. J.P. Morgan Jr. loaned the U.S. $500 million and took 1% of the provision for everything that his company sold to the U.S. Army. Some believe that the Morgans prompted the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor by promising the division a profit. Today, the Morgans still own the biggest family reserve of gold, and allegedly, it is connected by a tunnel with the New York branch of the U.S. Central Bank. Allegedly. The Walton family. The Waltons are the richest family in the world if we combine the siblings' overall wealth, which is worth around $200 billion. The brothers Jim and Rod Walton were respectively 16th and 17th on Forbes' annual list of billionaires in terms of valuation, while their sister Alice Walton is currently the second richest woman in the world, gaining on first place Bettencourt Myers. The three siblings have consistently been in the top 20 of Forbes' 400 list since 2001. The chances that you've contributed to their wealth are pretty high since the Walton family owns the world's largest corporation, Walmart. Walmart is the world's largest retailer with over 2.2 million employees. The House of Saud. You probably know the country Saudi Arabia, but did you know how the country got its name? The House of Saud is Saudi Arabia's ruling family. They possess so much power that the nation has been called Saudi Arabia. There are 15,000 members, and around 2,000 of them hold the majority of power and wealth. The head of the family, Salman bin al-Saud, is the king of the oil-rich country possessing unimaginable wealth. The Saudi monarchy derives most of its revenue from massive oil deposits discovered 75 years ago, which transformed the country's finances and made the House of Saud the world's wealthiest family. Saudi Arabia has since become the world's second largest oil producer behind the U.S. and the world's largest oil exporter, shipping around 7 million barrels a day. It controls the world's second largest oil reserves and the fourth largest gas reserves. If you've been enjoying this video so far, come on, drop a like and of course subscribe to the channel. You sure don't want to miss out on upcoming videos like this. The Sauds have international influence, and NATO is heavily invested in Saudi Arabia's security. Saudi Aramco, the state-owned oil business among the world's most lucrative and profitable, is the foundation of the royal family's income. The Al Saud family are well known for living an extravagant lifestyle. They can even go to war if they want to, as they have done with Yemen. The British royal family. It has been reported that the British royal family is worth around $95 billion. The king, who is also the head of the state, and their immediate family is responsible for various diplomatic duties, such as changing draft laws and in some cases, overruling the prime minister. When the government passes a bill, it cannot become an act of parliament unless it receives the king's stamp of approval, a process called royal assent. The queen was the leader of the United Kingdom from 1952 to 2022, the country's longest-serving monarch. She exerted influence felt all over the world. She had the power to appoint and dismiss ministers, summon parliament, and give royal assent to bills passed by parliament. And the best part? While most of the families on this list are legally liable to taxes, the royal family is not. They are not bound to pay income tax, capital gains tax, inheritance tax, or any sort of tax at all. The king himself doesn't need a passport to travel abroad and can drive without a license. He is also the head of the Commonwealth realm, which consists of 15 different countries. The Rothschilds. The Rothschilds family is arguably the most famous European banking dynasty and the most powerful family in the world. They provide financial advisory services for more than 40 countries. It is estimated that they weigh $500 billion, and some estimates claim that they manage with $100 trillion of financial power. In the 60s of the 18th century, Meyer Rothschild sent 5 of his sons to 5 financial centers so they could be in all the most important places in the world of finance. They gave him the ability to rule the world for many centuries with countless assets, enormous influence, and enormous power. The 19th century was crucial for this family because they strengthened their global power by financially aiding the main and most powerful monarchies and authorities on all conflicting sides. It is suspected that Rothschilds have connections with a secret organization called New World Order, NWO. Nowadays, some claim that the Rothschild family controls the world through the U.S. Central Bank Federal Reserve. Even though their financial value is beyond measure, they own multinational companies such as RIO Trinto, RIT Capital, and Glencore. They are probably the wealthiest family in human history, but still not one of the Rothschild individuals has appeared on Forbes' list. Families on this list have been known to influence the world beyond your imagination. They may not be the richest families, but their influence on economics and geopolitical landscape is unrivaled. Tell us what you think in the comments section, and we'll see you in the next one.